Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Nairobi Sisterhood. We are back and we're gonna be talking about something really exciting today. It's Maya Mushemi and I'm here with a beautiful young lady to my left.
Gena.
Yes. Okay, so we're gonna be talking about our uni experiences.
Yeah, basically whatever we experienced in uni, how it made us the women we are today.
What we learned.
Yeah, it's gonna be a short and sweet episode, so stick around.
And we hope that it's gonna take you back to your uni days because those were some good old times.
For many people.
Oh yeah. For many people. Maybe not for everyone.
I realized not everyone has the same uni experience.
For real.
That's very self-centered for you to think that everyone has had that experience and has a good experience.
I think my opinion of high school and primary, I think that because they were very sheltered and you didn't have a choice, you had to go to a specific school and whatever, then I can understand how people can have different experiences. But I think uni is one of those places where it's very, you can interact with so many different people that it's not possible for you to be stuck in no?
Oh my gosh.
No?
You
don't think so?
I think that's a very unilateral way of seeing things. Just because you get to interact with many people doesn't automatically mean that your experience will be good. One, not everyone is a people person.
Okay, maybe not good.
True,
but
you could interact with people and still have a terrible experience. And you could even live the party life and have a terrible experience.
I hear you. I see what you mean. And yeah, it's possible. I just meant in terms of maybe I'm talking about the school part of it. I'm talking
about all of them. Either way, I think to assume that just because you're in a different place and you're more free that your experience will automatically be good is very presumptuous.
I guess. Yes.
Yeah.
It might be.
It's extremely presumptuous.
It might be.
And now that we are finished presuming, how was your uni experience? Okay, no, let's start with
you.
What exactly about it?
What would you say? Okay, what did you think uni was gonna be like?
Guys, I came from a small. What the statement goes? I'm just a small town girl living in that one. Came from a small town. I had been to Nairobi before, but just in tourism capacity.
Yeah.
So
it's wild.
So coming from that small town, everyone knew each other, where there was not too much going on, to coming to Nairobi. And let me tell you, the first day when I got to Nairobi and dropped my things at my mom's friend has a shop somewhere in town. Mm-hmm. So I dropped my things there, and then I met some of my high school friends who lived in, I put it in quotes because we're not friends at the moment, and my definition of friendship right now would not categorize them as my friends, but they were the people who were there around walikuwa. So met them and we basically toured Nairobi. Right now, I know we went to that University of Nairobi that's somewhere near these sides, junction sides.
Is
there a campus of UN that's these sides?
I know there's a uni.
Yeah.
I just don't know whether it was. I didn't know it was UN. I know there's a school, but I don't know whether
anyway.
It was UN.
So basically, we toured. I can't remember half the places we went to. I know at some point we went to Junction, went to the movies, which was quite some distance from town for me at the time, considering I don't know how to take matatus.
Yeah.
I barely know how to take matatus in Nakuru, let alone taking matatus in Nairobi. So, and at this point in time, I was staying with an older cousin of mine. And I was meant to be at her place and meet her in town at 5. And at 5, I was at Junction watching a movie. So she was upset. My parents were upset. Everyone was upset. So obviously, I didn't make good choices. I should have paid attention.
Your parents probably watch this and think, hey,
they know.
That's
the worst I have done. I've been a good child. So anyway, coming from Nakuru and having that, my first day was that one, where I basically went around with friends, watched a movie, did things, hang around, we hang out with each other got late for no good reason other than I felt the freedom to. Honestly, I should have probably gone back to town and gone home earlier, but I didn't because there was so much to explore. So that was my first experience, feeling like this is such a big place. It is not. In hindsight, Nairobi is very tiny. And now the other days, now when I actually formally joined university, I was culture shocked. One, because I was expecting the university to be super strict because that's what we had been told. And even how I dressed was so out of touch with Ngina because it was what I thought was expected of me, like super formal and clothes that were baggy and clothes that, so that because I didn't want to be carded, I was so concerned about not getting in trouble. So concerned about not getting kicked out of school. Also, I guess I understood how much it took for my parents to take me to the school that I didn't want to fuck it up. And because of my last bits of high school, when I actually started putting in effort, I realized that my goals are huge and my ambitions are big. So I need to actually do the thing. So I came in so scared and trying so hard to fit in and trying so hard to not get in trouble that I don't remember a big chunk of my first year. I just remember being like a scared little girl. And I remember, I'm so grateful for one of our friends, B. B basically just adopted me. She just saw me sat somewhere alone and she's like, we are going for lunch. And that is how we are friends till now. And that is it. That is how we became friends. That's how we became friends with you guys. Because otherwise I don't even know how else I would have made friends. Because I was scared.
Oh, bless you. Oh, you're so cute. No, I'm just like, oh, how did I not know this version of Ngina? Because I feel like my perception of you was, you look like you are ready to fight everybody.
That's the thing. Fear makes you defensive.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Wow. This is so interesting because I didn't perceive you as scared at any one point. Maybe that wasn't, maybe because you were experiencing it that way. Now us weren't experiencing you like that.
I think we might have in the first instance. And then when I got comfortable with you guys, I still felt the need to be defensive because I still don't know these people. I'm still coming from a point where I don't want to get hurt because of whatever past experiences I had.
Yeah.
So there was still that defensiveness. But even with me being like that, y'all were still like, she's a little weird, but okay.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Guy, that's so different. Because
what was your first year, the first day, the first week?
Honestly, now I think this is how you know. You said you knew how much it took for your parents to take you to that school. I didn't realize it till like after uni. It was just a thing. I was just going to school. Like, honestly, it's so weird. Also, now my experience from yours is I grew up in Nairobi. So for me, the difference was I needed to drive to school. So I'd never kupanda matatu. Yes, I'd pandad. When we say matatu, it's a public transport thing in Kenya. There are buses or vans that take you from point A to Z. And before, like in boarding school, yes, I was in boarding school through primary and secondary, but I'd never pandad public transport alone. I'd always go with my parents. So now I've gotten to a stage where I need to go get myself to school. So nipande, like I have to find out how to get to school.
How to get to town.
How to get to town, then from town to school.
Yeah.
So that was an experience in itself. I was like, wow, it's me you're trusting to be in town, walking around in CBD, in the Central Business District. Me?
The thing about trust, do you understand how much trust our parents put in us when it comes to uni?
I think now, I don't know whether mine trust me, but that's another story.
Okay, I'm going to speak for myself because I left
But
them.
they did. They probably did because even that getting to school, as in kukuaminia that you will get to school, that you will go deposit that check or whatever it is,
You will
you'll pay
pay
your
the
fees, that you will attend your classes regardless of, like, even if you don't know the importance of what is going on, like the fact that you should have. So I think my first week in uni was very, oh my gosh, I remember sitting in class and seeing different faces and like everyone is so gorgeous. I'm like, oh my God, people are so beautiful. And in Strat, they give you
a placard.
Placards with your name, at least in our law school.
Put on the desk.
So you put them on your desk and so the teacher can know who you are. So there was that, and then you're reading people's names. And then I spotted Angie. And I was like, oh, that's a beautiful girl I see in church.
Aww.
And then I remember seeing, who else did I know? The only people I knew was, because we were family friends. And I think a girl called because she was friends with my primary classmate. For jurists.
Yeah.
Those are the people I knew, and those are the people I hung out with on day one. But I remember being with them and feeling like I need to make my own friends. Like I don't think, I know, yes, I've made friends organically,
Yeah.
but I was like, I need to make friends. Then I started
Yeah.
talking to different people just to assess which friend group I want to join.
That's so interesting.
I was like, okay, so I spoke to like and her friends, and I was like, oh,
I
these
don't know
guys
if
are
we're leaving these
cool.
names in, but
Oh, no. Okay, generally. Okay,
yeah,
whatever.
we are speaking to the camera.
Okay, no. I'm just trying to, okay, we'll bleep the names.
Also, they don't know these people.
They don't know them.
Yeah, so be conscious of that, so they don't have context.
Oh, but I'm also talking to you.
But you're also talking to them.
Okay, fine. I don't know, talking to different, our class had cliques.
Clicks, yeah.
So at first I was talking to everyone, and
Yeah.
I'm a social person, so I'll talk to everyone. Me, I'm just here saying hello, hi, whatever, cheers. And then there was different groups that formed in our school, that friend groups. So I was there trying to talk to these ones. I'm like, oh, they talk about like a sleepover. Maybe they know each other before this, and I'm like, oh, okay, whose house is it gonna be at? So that I see if I'm gonna come. And then I moved to the next person. But I think the friend group I ended up having now, you guys, you, Kinabi, Pasi, everyone ended up being the perfect fit for me,
Yeah.
because I didn't feel like I needed to pretend with you people. Okay, I don't think I ever pretended with anybody, for being honest. But I just, because our school had people of different social classes, like people who are super wealthy, people who are born into, your parents are in their profession, or like people
People
who
who are in politics.
yeah. When I spoke to you guys, it felt like, oh yeah, this is it, because I don't have to be rich, and I also don't have, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we were just, I think we were also not trying to fit in. We were just also ourselves. From what I see and from what I understood, we were not the wealthiest of the crew.
Yeah.
But people could still communicate and handle themselves.
Yes.
And-
And then also, I don't think it was about, I don't know, it didn't feel like it needed to be about that.
Yes,
We
that's
didn't,
the
we didn't need
thing.
to be the coolest people in the room. We just
Yeah.
needed to be. Like literally, we were here to get an education, and our parents have brought us here to get an education. So I was like, oh, these are the people. Like we can eat at Siwaka and not feel funny. You know what I mean? And
Siwaka is a place outside of our uni that is Kibandaski like. But it's not
even a
really
kibanda.
Kibandaski. It's
It's
inside a building. It's in the basement of a building.
Literally.
But it's as close to a Kibanda that school would ever get to.
yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
you and people would probably not think it's a Kibanda, but no offense. Wait,
No, but I
would
hear
be
you.
cancelled,
I
no
hear you.
offense. But that was as close because it also
It's
wasn't
not the
in-
standard.
it
It's not
wasn't-
the
it
standard
wasn't in
kibanda,
school,
but it is.
and it was cheaper than meals in school. And I liked Siwaka not even because of the money aspect. I just found the food there better.
It was nice.
It was just
good
better food,
and I think
honestly.
the portions are also
And
decent.
the portions were decent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there was that. I don't know. I don't even know how we found ourselves, but we ended up finding ourselves and sharing interests. And then I think over time, it's realizing that, okay, so my perception of uni was, I'll go to school, I'll get an education, I'll go back home. I didn't really think much about it. I think finding my friends happened organically. I mean, I tried, dabbled here and there in different friend groups, and I was like, yeah, no, these are definitely my
Yeah.
people. I don't know. I think I just went to start. First of all, because I didn't choose. Okay, when I thought about uni, my sister had been in uni before, so she'd already told me about going to school, making sure you're on top of your books, making sure you find your people. She made it seem like it's normal. So when I joined uni, for me, it was just like,
I guess you didn't have an opportunity to overthink it.
I didn't have an opportunity to overthink it.
Yeah.
The difference was with Strath, the thing for dressing formally, I had to now shop for that.
Yeah.
I had to, because I didn't want to be carded. Okay, so in our school, let me give you context for those who don't understand, is we had fashion police, where our school, you have to dress smart casual, formally. No, I think smart casual, not formal.
It's smart casual, but closer to formal than to casual.
Yeah, we had it wasn't really uniform. It was just you dress a certain way that is presentable, in a way that you would probably show up to work, and also not inappropriate. So we couldn't wear like crop tops to school. We couldn't wear mini skirts to school. We couldn't wear, even if it's normal.
None of us would wear this.
Whatever we're wearing,
whatever we're wearing
you
now, we
never
could
wear
not.
to Strath.
Yeah.
You couldn't wear plunging necklines. You couldn't wear.
You couldn't show your shoulders.
You couldn't show your shoulders. It has
Which,
to be.
okay, let's
If
get
you
into
Africa
the
hapa.
things about uni that
triggered you. But yeah, so
Yeah.
that thing for dressing up maybe was the only thing I was like, but then we were living uniform. Like in secondary school, we had uniforms. Then we're joining uni and then they're telling us just dress a bit more modest. I don't think I thought it was a lot. And obviously I used to get irritated for being sent back for nonsense. Like, why are you sending me back because I'm in my trousers? There's a time I came to school with trousers that are baggy, but they looked more cargo pants-ish.
Yeah.
And that lady sent me home. And I said, you're sending me back because of this. I think the thing that used to be frustrating was you spent your fare and you're going to miss a class that you shouldn't be missing because attendance is important. And as you can tell, we are not people for skiving school. Like we show up to school, we do our reading, we do our exams, we pass our exams. You know,
Yeah.
so we're not the kid who's okay with missing school.
We are not the people who are ever okay with skipping class. for no
Yeah,
good
so why are
reason.
you making me skip class because of a trouser that is not even doing anything? It used to irritate me. That part was
I
annoying.
think it irritated me because I never understood it. In hindsight, at some point, I think I would understand the modesty part of it, but to be so nitty gritty about the formalness or the material, of
material of the
a
outfit.
clothing, that's the part I don't understand. Because I think right now, I dress how I used to dress that time, modesty wise, but not like there was a bit of time when I was like, yep, I'm gonna show everything. I'm gonna see my titties.
Yeah.
And let me say 2024 specifically, unless I'm in certain areas, like I learned to dress for the occasion. And I think that's what they should have taught as opposed to carding people for material that looks like jeans but is not jeans but kind of could be.
Yeah.
That is what
Then
they should have been. That
It
should
became
have been taught.
policing and bullying
Yeah,
and body shaming.
and then because you're giving people power to send kids home basically over some things that are arbitrary, they used to misuse their power. If I'm gonna be honest,
It's true.
They could send you home because they didn't like you, and if they liked you enough, it didn't matter what you wore.
True.
So those are the bits I have a problem with, and they were not really teaching why they
rationale.
weren't teaching the rationale. They weren't helping us understand the rationale.
The principle behind it.
One
Because I think
thing
the principle is because they're training you for the work environment,
Yeah.
right? And corporate, you have to dress a certain way.
Yeah,
Because
so you're dressed how you are dressed.
You're-
You're addressed how you dressed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's about impressions. It makes sense. But now the fact that they didn't tell us that, they just told us, don't wear this. Carry, what are the colors? Like your hair should be CG, what colors? You shouldn't. I'm like, you're in uni. Uni is the time you're supposed to be finding yourself. How am I finding myself if you're not even giving me a chance to find myself? You're already telling me what I
Yeah.
should be.
There wasn't a lot of freedom of expression, and that's part of the things I have a problem with. Although there's one rule that I specifically really really liked and still like, and I hope they keep it.
What?
The thing about men and women not hugging, because I like it because I don't like physical contact with people I don't know, and even with my
But
friends.
that's a boundary you can set yourself.
That is a boundary I can set myself. But as someone who has not learned how to set boundaries, I was happy it was there. I was happy you couldn't just walk up to me and put your arms around me. Because that's a thing. And I
Definitely
mean,
a
it
thing.
also comes off when I do set that boundary right now, even in other spaces, there's obviously that one for.
You're a bit hostile.
Exactly. And I didn't need to be hostile because the university was already hostile on my behalf. Thanks.
I hear you. I don't think I cared enough for the rule because I think it was so subconscious that when I see someone, like if I met Pasi, our friend, on the corridors, I'd want to be like, hi, hug you. But then because now I have to be subconscious, but then by the time I was finishing first year, I could tell not to hug people. Like it was
Yeah.
so automatic that I just would never hug someone of the opposite sex.
Yeah.
It wasn't I guess I don't know. I don't know. It's neither here nor there for me.
For me, I think I liked it because it made me not need to have that boundary myself. And even with my guy friends, like I will hug them sometimes, and sometimes I don't want to hug them, and I'm like, yeah.
I don't know. I hear you, but I don't know. Okay, yeah. So expectation versus reality, I think it met my expectations. It was definitely, I think the thing that surprised me, because my first week of school, besides the friend part, was what is going on. Like I think we got to week 2 and then they were telling us how our cuts are coming up or something. We were going to do random
Academically,
assessments.
yeah.
And I was like, I don't even know what's going on. I'm still trying to process what's going on. And then the reading lists were from here to Timbuktu.
They
Guys,
were
from here
long.
to Timbuktu.
And there was so much philosophy in the first year.
Oh, I
There's
feel
so
like
much to read.
I think forget even the philosophy, even with the law part, like we learned our core units in first year. And I don't understand why we learned the core units in first year.
It should have been probably second.
Yeah, give me a chance to even process what's going on. Like,
I just arrived, man. I just arrived.
as in, I remember going back home and my show asking me something, and I was so confused about. I was like, oh my god, I don't even know what's going on. I still didn't know what was going on in week 2. I was still trying to process. But the funny thing is, I was always in the library because I'm not trying to fail.
That's the thing. The fear of failure will make you leave in the library. I don't think I was in first year. Honestly, I think that happened to me now from second year. The first year, I didn't even know to be in the library.
I needed to be in the library because I didn't know what was going on. Then when I got the grasp, I feel like even first year passing was a walk in the park. But now second year onwards is when I now started relaxing, which I shouldn't have. Because now my grades from which is funny because everyone says you get better grades in third year and fourth year. But I think my grades got worse third year, fourth year. Because then I had come into myself and I was like, school is important, but it's not who I am.
I don't know. You see, I think we've had such different experiences. See how you said first year was a walk in the park. The worst grades I ever got were first year. From my grades progressively got better.
Yeah.
If I didn't have the grades I had in first year, I would have had a first class.
Wow.
Because I was like 0.1 something points from a first class.
Oh,
So-
me, I was struggling in third year and fourth year. Clearly, we
So-
had different experiences. And
Very,
very,
very
same school, same class.
Same school, same class,
Same
same friend
lecturer,
group,
same
same
friend
social
group.
situation, same
Wow.
everything. Very different experiences.
That's so interesting. Me, my best
Yeah.
grades, I think, were in first year.
No. I'm so glad they weren't because it was giving Bobo clad, it was giving intellectually deficient.
But also, I think it was also trying to figure out because, okay, so when I finished, I didn't want to do law initially. I wanted to do literature, but my parents were like, you passed too much to do a course that this is gonna come off so bad.
To the literature majors.
To the literature majors, I want to be you. When I grow up, I want to be you. But my folks are like, nah, those grades are too good. Pick a profession. To African parents, it's either law, med school, or engineering. And I was not gonna do the sciences. I had done 3 sciences, and I was like, I'm not
wish I
suffering
did
through
something
uni.
in the sciences. But okay, I don't know if I do. I think I wish I did something in the arts because I also do want to do law, but my parents are like, you're too smart to do something in media and the arts.
African parents used to
And
do
like,
us a
do
lot, by
law,
the way.
please.
But I'm not mad at it because literature, law was the closest thing to literature for me.
Yeah.
One, I wanted to do law before I fell in love with literature. So at least it wasn't too far from something I'd envisioned myself in. But also, law is just reading. The only difference is I'm reading facts. I'm not reading a story, telling things.
You're not reading, what is this called?
Fiction.
It's, or art.
Or art.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, it's not bad because it's in its own way, it's storytelling. The only difference is you're fighting a different battle. You know what I mean? It's not just
You know what I
presenting-
wish we had though? I wish we had a gap year. I think that would have done me well. 'Cause
Yeah.
then I would have discovered that I'm into the arts and I'm into business and
Then you'd have changed
I'm a
change your
creative.
course.
I don't know what it should have done academically, but I think it should have done me well to discover who I am.
Yeah.
'Cause I think it took me so long to discover what I wanted to do professionally.
Yeah.
And maybe I needed to go to law school. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. I just feel like probably a gap year would have done me well so that I have more experiences outside of the classroom.
Yeah.
Because when you have experiences in class, they're dictated by what you're learning. And I don't mind that I learned the things that I learned. I think
Yeah.
they made me a more intellectual and a more... Basically, they taught me how to think. And that's okay. But in the sense of what would I have ultimately wanted to do,
Yeah.
I don't think it would have been law.
Oh, I hear you. I hear you 100%. But I think I'm still discovering what I want to do. And I don't know whether a gap year would have done that for me because after finishing high school, I started working and I worked in the
literature
arts.
and, yeah.
I worked in marketing, but then it was like writing. It was like journalism, so writing reports, writing things for articles for websites, interviewing people, selling things. It was very much what I think was in my strengths, and it wasn't even intentional. I literally stumbled upon that job. That's not even. Shout out to my cousin for hooking me up. But I don't know. I don't know whether it would have made a difference. Maybe it would have. But
Okay.
maybe it wouldn't have.
So
I don't know.
my question now is, so we've talked about, can you highlight like what do you think was your best experience?
In uni.
Yeah. And what was your worst?
Wow. I think my best experience was actually wholesomely was learning how to think. I think people had took issue with the courses that we did in the school we selected because they said we were rigid. It was like they were teaching us what to think. But I felt like I was being taught how to think, not what to think. They put you in a class and they teach you, besides now the core units of your course, you learn other things like philosophy.
Yeah.
And now I'm there thinking, oh my God, this thought process, this is the process of thinking. I can come to this conclusion. This is the premise. This is the conclusion.
This is why I'm coming to this conclusion.
This is why I'm coming to this conclusion.
Yeah.
I might not agree with someone's thought process and how they arrived at what they arrived at, but I can see there's a build up. Like I'm not waking up and saying things off the top of my head. I'm literally thinking, okay, my experience, my life circumstance has influenced me in this way, and that's why I think this. You know, it's not I don't know. I loved that about uni. I loved that I could become my own person. Like every time we were in a lecture and we'd say something, and the lecturer would be like, "Stop feeling, think. What do you think?"
This thing for I feel, and even right now we use it a lot, and we recognize when we're saying I feel something versus I think something.
Yeah, but you need to think about the things you say. So I think I loved that because I used to be I say what's at the top of my head. Like, I think, I still think I'm that person. The only difference is I acknowledge.
No, you're conscious.
Now I'm conscious about why I've said what I've said. I think that's the difference. Because Kitambo, it just used to be, I'm existing and I'm just catching, I'm just shooting. I'm ruining lives for fun. Now there's a consciousness to it, and then also discovering the things I liked. So with the clubs I joined, I'm like, okay, like I joined a drama club because I never did drama in high school because we didn't have that option. But I was like, oh, this is cool. Then I made friends and I was like, okay, I like theater, just not to be in the theater. Like I don't want to be the actor, but I like
like the space. You appreciate it.
Then with the French club I'm here joining, I'm just like, wow, I just want to better my French because that as a language, because I did it in school, I was like, I was struggling. Then the club
KMUN.
KMUN was amazing because I'm like, okay, if this is what it would look like if I worked for
the UN,
and
if you went the diplomacy route.
And it was just like, I just liked that I was a multifaceted babe. Like it made me all round because I feel like high school and primary made me very focused on academics. So there was more to my life and more to Maya than just my books, than that's my brain, than just getting my A's. You know, I feel like that's what I loved about
that's so wholesome. I love that.
And then I met people who
fed into that experience.
Because in high school there was a lot of as well classism, and then now in uni, the fact that it was there but it didn't bother me because I had found my tribe.
You were with your people.
You were
with the people who you're in the same class with.
I'm like, wow, like it. And then I didn't. The weird thing about in uni for me, I didn't feel. I know in Strath there's a tendency like you can feel broke because people have money. People have money. People not have money, so you can feel poor.
You can.
But then the weird thing is, I never felt that way because of the people. The people I surrounded myself with, the rooms I was in, the weekend activities that I chose to do, I never felt that way. So for me, and maybe this is why I said, how can you have a bad experience in uni? Which of course is not it's not accurate.
It's not
but in my
universal
experience. I took myself to the places where I felt appreciated, do that because there is room. Like if I don't fuck with this friend group, I can move to the next one. If I don't,
that's also assuming that these people are welcoming enough to have you.
That's true. I was lucky enough to have.
And then it's also, if you think about it like that, it's not like we were the most open friend group for people to join from other friend groups.
That's true. That's very true.
Someone could have not been fitting in somewhere and wanted to be friends with us, but they didn't know how to approach it, or maybe they tried, and because we've had so many shared experiences, they felt excluded.
Okay, that's true. Yeah. That's very possible. That's what happens to my friends who are not in our friend group when they hang out with us. They don't.
I've also had that because we also have mutual friends who are friends with the friend group but not in the friend group.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
It's definitely a thing. Okay, I hear you. What was your experience?
What I would say my best experience. I hear you on the basically just living a more wholesome life and the academic experience. I think my best experience could have been the social aspect. Because I came from a place of not having friends and not even knowing what good friendship looks like, or even just friendship.
Yeah,
I didn't know what it looked like. So to come to a place where, well, these guys saw me in all my weirdness and awkwardness and all the stages of having white hair and going through all my shits, and was still like, we will
the white hair, and I'm not gonna address it because there's a story there. But tuone kando. Wait.
They saw me through all these different stages and was still very much there,
Deceptive.
still very much not, well, I don't know about judging, because you can still judge and be there for someone. You can still criticize something and be there for someone as a friend. So I felt like you guys were there for me. So the social aspect is something I don't take for granted, because I also know how hard it can be to make friends as someone who is more introverted and as someone who did not know what to expect. You asked me what to expect. I never knew what to expect. I was just scared. Like, that's all I can say.
You were scared because you didn't know what to expect.
I scared because I didn't know what to expect. Scared because it's such a new environment,
Yeah.
such new people. And then these people are so intimidating.
Yeah.
And I know I can come off as the world doesn't shake me. But I was shaken.
Oh, bless
I
you,
was so
babe.
shaken.
It didn't show.
Thank you.
Or
Thank
maybe
you.
I
We
also
try.
didn't know you well enough.
We
to
try
know.
to never
now
show.
probably
You would see.
I'd see it.
Yeah.
Now I'd see if you're struggling with something. But then first year us,
Yeah. So the social aspect,
maybe
I
we
think,
were also caught up in our own adjustments.
because you guys were such good friends to me, it gave me room to address the things I was struggling with emotionally, because there were people who were there for me, and it gave me room to grow. I think I grew so much in and out of uni because of the relationships I made along the way. Because I felt like I could be imperfect and still be like, I could be, no, I'm not gonna cry.
Oh, babes.
Like, I could be imperfect and still hold value to someone.
Yeah.
And I didn't, as much as people say, oh, you don't need external validation, to be honest, it plays a huge role when it comes to your own personal growth
And your self-discovery.
and your self-discovery. Because you can try
Sometimes
seeing
you need
bits
someone
and
to
pieces.
clap for you.
Yeah, and you need
Or
someone
even
to
to
pick you
check
up when
you.
you're down.
Yeah.
I need someone to be like, yeah, Ngina, that was not the best move. And
I feel like we had those moments.
yeah, and because I feared criticism so much coming into uni, being in a space where people would still try and be there for you, but criticize you in a way that you still felt the love.
Yeah.
So
Or
the
they
social
love you
aspect,
despite.
yeah. So that social aspect really helped me grow emotionally as a person, because I know I wasn't. To be honest, I don't feel like I was the best friend to you guys, and maybe until even after we left.
I don't know.
I don't know. To me,
but I don't know. But also, mimi nakwambia nakuanga clueless. I think I'm
okay,
really
let me
in such
speak
a
for
bubble.
myself. Let me
So,
speak. I don't
I'm
know
not
about
even-
you and your bubble. I think I started being a good friend like after third year. Also after I left the relationship that I was in. There were so many things that were happening.
Did you see my face? I
So-
cannot to comment.
So many things that were happening. So that I think was the best part of uni for me. And also my current best friend. We weren't best friends at the time.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was able to meet such a wide range and the opportunities to, how do I say this? I was an overworker ever since. I think this is one thing I regret doing the most, working during the long holidays. I regret it because I could have just been living my best life.
You know, I regret not working enough. I regret not making use of the opportunities our university gave us. Like, I feel like if I had actually positioned myself properly, say ningekuwa na people in big four, like big law firms on my speed dial, but I don't have that. Or lecturers I would talk to after. Now, the lecturers that I have, I don't talk to them. Even my mentor, I feel like she was an amazing person. She must have been, she was a lot. I mean, as a lecturer, a lot of my friends might not have liked her as a lecturer. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. Mm.
They might not have liked her as a
Maybe I
lecturer because
did
she's a
like
bit
her.
rigid in her thinking,
Yeah.
but then that's who she is. Like,
She's proud of who she is.
she is who she is.
Yeah.
Like, she's standing on business. And I'm like, wow, when I grow up, I want to be you. Maybe not with those values, but I want to be you. And
so confident in herself.
so confident in herself. And I'm just like, I wish I utilized those things more, because I would have been so far along in my career journey if I did.
You know why I wish I didn't utilize them as much as I did?
Yeah.
It's because I think I was doing it to be seen to be doing it. Not,
For the right reasons.
yeah, I didn't do it for the right reasons. I had no goals when it came to a profession in law. I had no business doing 3,000 internships in legal research departments. Really, none. Here I am in a podcast having a business that has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I hear
And
you.
yes, that experience might have grown me in one way or another, But you see how you're saying you could have had networks in these big 4 places. Because I was there not for the right reasons, I didn't even care enough to keep these networks and these connections. So me and you, same was up.
Now, I think for me, it's like if I maybe was in those rooms or I attended those things, maybe I'd have been like, yuck, definitely not big law. Or yuck, you understand?
In that
But then,
case, yeah.
because I didn't interact with it, I have nothing. Like, sina maoni.
Hauna context.
Sina maoni, sina anything. I'm just like, and then it's like, my parents paid this amount of money for me to come out and say, sina maoni. Are you serious? I think that's what's pissing me off the most about letting it go. Because I don't know, because the weird thing is I have relatives and friends who were in public uni and they knew to find those networks. Can you imagine? So I'm like, yours was handed to you in a platter and you said, Sioni, bad box. Then someone was like, literally, I know a lot of my friends who ended up getting jobs, not even by graduating, by being in ISEC, by being in, you know what I mean? Like my sister did internships abroad in a public school just because she was like, she's driven, I'm a jituma. Like I wish I knew kujituma was so important in uni. And this is what I would say to people in uni right now. Like jitume, you'll figure it out ahead. I don't know how to explain it.
You see now, as someone who nilijituma, my advice would be, yes, jitume, because I don't think I want to take away from that.
Yeah.
Don't be any less ambitious. Like jitume, yes. Yeah. But when you are in those spaces, be aware. Don't be there just for the sake of it. When you are there, pay attention to what's going on around you.
Yeah.
Pay attention to the people you're meeting in these rooms. Pay attention to what they're saying and how that impacts you. Like, don't just be there for the sake of being there.
Yeah.
Because I think also for me, it had been easy to. I know how to BS my way through interviews. If I ever do an interview with anyone who's watched this. So Maya, what was your worst experience in uni as we wind up?
My worst experience in uni, I don't think it was because of uni. Okay, maybe it was. You see, the way in uni, you're in uni to discover yourself, right? So you discover your likes, your dislikes, your interests, you find friends, you find yourself in one way or another, you find your career, those things. In the same way, in the socializing, I think in uni is where maybe not everyone, but some people go and discover their relationship with alcohol or other things, just socializing, how to fit in. And I think the most interesting part is it's usually alcohol centered. Like
a lot of our socializing,
especially in Kenya, a lot of the socializing involves drinking with your boys, with your friends.
When you're in uni,
boys.
it's usually the cheap version of the alcohol. Not the cheap. We drank these cheap things.
Let me tell you, all the drinks we were drinking had choice because teacher's choice, police choice, officer's choice,
everything choice.
Could never be me right now. Oh my God, could never be me right now. The choices, first of all, those choices were limited because you're broke. And also now that I'm thinking about it, I might have been not as broke in uni as compared to
now.
Not now, maybe not now, but like sometime after uni.
No, it makes sense because also you have an allowance in uni.
Yeah, I think the money.
For me, I think I immediately after I didn't have money because of all the works.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe this okay. I think I should have learned how to manage my money in uni because I made money not directly from the internships. The internships sometimes paid, sometimes did not, but they gave us meal cards. And because my parents used to give me money primarily for my food, I saved up a lot.
Yeah.
But I saved up a lot and paid someone's rent with that money. Let's move on.
So, okay. So I think for me, with my relationship with now alcohol started in uni. And I don't have a problem with my alcohol, like my alcohol intake or currently my relationship with alcohol, because if I want to quit, I can wake up and just quit. Like I'm not invested in it. It's not that deep, honestly. Nikiamua leo sijiski kunywa, I won't drink. And then I have an amazing support system. My friends and family don't force issues. Like they're the kind of people who just don't.
Oh, you're not drinking?
It's not a must.
Yeah.
But I think the one thing that I would say was a low for me in uni was because I didn't move out. My parents saw the version of me that, all of us go through that phase where, not all of us, but some people, if you've indulged in alcohol or doing things, in uni, pia kuna experimental with other drugs. I'm not speaking to that side. I'm speaking to the alcohol specifically. But unachoma, like when you go to uni, you choma, but you choma in your hostel. You choma with your friends. When I say choma, I mean ban. I mean drinking beyond where you need to, finding before you discover your limit.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So discovering your limit in your parents' house.
So
we
they
need
get
a
to
support
see
group for
you
people who
all-
still live at home in uni and have banned.
Because
Like your parents,
they have seen you drunk.
They have seen you drunk.
messed
Your
up.
parents
they
have no
seen you show
business.
up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 6 a.m., 8 a.m.
your parents have no
completely
business
hammered
seeing
and
you
knackered.
lit like that, one dressed like that. Like first of all, even you know the way the younger, I feel like when younger me used to wear really short skimpy dresses when I go to the club.
Us
Right
both-
now
us
could
both,
never
the
be
both
me.
of us. Yeah.
But I'm just like my parents didn't need to see me like that. They didn't need to see me like that.
I'm glad mine didn't.
And you see
yeah.
my sister moved out, so she didn't have that. So they don't even know her relationship with alcohol. They just know she's a good kid.
Yeah.
And then it's just like I'm not a bad kid.
It's just that you have seen these experiences firsthand when ordinarily you might not have gotten to see it. if I wasn't
People's
living
parents
here.
don't see them like
they
that.
really don't. They usually don't.
Half my friends, their parents are like, they don't know they even drink.
Yeah.
And I'm like, power to you. Good for you. Me, I just have always been myself, always. Like,
And
my
you
parents
should
know
be.
me through and through.
Yeah.
But it's not an ideal situation because then you now need to, when you're a better person, when quote unquote, I'm saying better because
When you grow out of
you're-
that stage.
When you grow out of your stage, people still view you that way. And that for me is just, it's so unnecessary. Like, I don't need to be trying to prove that I'm not that person. Because were you not 19 at one point? Are you get what I'm saying? You're not a bad person. You are just going through a phase that most youth,
many youth go through.
you know what I mean? Yeah, I think that would be my low light. So I would really advise, I think it's not a bad thing that I lived at home because I feel like in terms of safety, the fact that I needed to be home by a certain time, maybe not even forget the curfew part because I didn't even think I had a curfew in uni, but I had a curfew if I went out. Like make sure I know who you are with, where you are. Like I'd say, I'm at club this with this person. I'm coming home and I'll be home before 6. You know what I mean?
Wow,
and
yeah.
I'd be home by that time. So the checking in on me in the morning would be to make sure I'm home and safe.
You're home.
You know what I mean? It was very, so there was like a freedom aspect to how I was raised. But then at the same time, in the freedom comes fuck ups.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that I didn't mess up a couple of times, but I just wish I could take that away. I could take that version, that image of myself that my parents had to see.
Oh, that's
You get what I
sad.
mean?
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
I feel like that's a
sorry.
low light. Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, babes.
I'm sorry.
Babes. Anyway,
hear you.
but
I
support
hear
group
you.
for those who lived at home.
Hey,
You
support
guys,
for all of you, all of y'all. Because
Yo.
I am so glad that if it is not for this podcast, my parents would never know about some things that have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't drink right now, so it doesn't matter right now. But
you
at
see,
that
even
time,
me, even if I don't drink right now, would they believe that I don't drink?
That's
You know
what
what I
I'm saying.
mean?
For me,
Like,
for me, it doesn't matter. For me, I've never been drinking, and maybe it was a glass of wine once or twice,
Yeah.
and it's always going to be like that because they will never have seen me staggering home at 4 a.m.
yeah, like I
never
don't need the. I
happened.
feel like the redemption arc is hard. That it's not
I
easy,
get you.
and then it's not even in a bad way. I don't even think.
They don't mean to not see the new version of you. It's just because that's
Difficult to
happened.
erase the version of me that they.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you get what I'm.
It's also because that's a version they might feel like they need to protect.
And it's a version they feel like they don't want you to go back to, but really
Yeah.
it's not. It wasn't even. I don't know. It was temporary.
I understand
Oh,
that. I understand
transition.
that. Ooh,
Anyway,
ooh,
yeah.
ooh. My low light. I was even thinking about before when this started, just like we had taken a break and then when we came back to shoot, and I was thinking, I don't think I have any low light. But girl, I was depressed. A lot.
I'm sorry.
I was depressed a lot.
For me, it's third year. That kind of depression that hits in third year.
I was depressed a lot, and then at some point when the Dusit attack happened, my dad was working in Dusit, and I was a functioning depressed person. When the Dusit attack happened, I stopped functioning. I just
so sorry.
stopped functioning. I needed a lot of therapy, and even I was functioning because I would study, I would do my exams. But even these moments, even being with my friends, even these situations were so hard. And there were times when even you guys would be there and I would just, like, I'm just in like a corner and it would be like, okay, maybe it's just one of those days where I don't feel like talking to people. But other days I was genuinely really, really sad. and really, really unhappy with life.
so
And
sorry.
because the depression thing is something that had started even before uni.
Yeah.
But experiencing uni in that stage, and the reason why it came up is because I remembered our Euro trip and how when everyone talks about it, they're always so happy. I wasn't happy. I was sad. Like, I learned a lot, but I was sad. I even think at that time, I didn't even hang out with you guys as much. I spent time with other friends,
Yeah.
and it was okay, but I didn't really hang out with what I would say my core group of friends were. And even with the friends that I hang out with, it wasn't consistent. I can hang out with you on Monday, hang out with someone else on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't that I was doing the Euro trip with a person or people.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to attach to anyone at that time.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So I experienced it very differently. Honestly, I don't think you guys
interesting
understand
that
how
you'd say that,
Yeah.
because for me, it was the trip that got me out of mine. Because I feel like third year was hard. I don't know. Me, I was fighting for my life in law school. The last 2 years, okay, maybe most likely third year. 'Cause I feel like first year and second year, I was above. Like I was
you were
okay.
holding your head above water.
Nilikuwa hapa.
Yeah.
Third year, I just was like, I was under. And then I'm studying and my grades are not showing my studying. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, it was just so much harder for me. And then now ending it with the Euro trip, because the Euro trip was immediately before fourth year,
Yeah.
right? I remember really praying not to get a retake so that I can still go for this trip. Like, it was a lot of pressure all at once. And then when we ended up going, I was like, because for me, travel is such a therapy thing. I was so happy.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like, oh my God, now I don't have to think about this. Then now fourth year started and now I went back to, like, it was a bit lower, but it was not as bad. Like,
That's interesting.
for me, it was a therapeutic trip
For
because of it.
Because my depression was in one way or another being influenced by the relationship I was in.
Oh, okay.
Seeing you guys so happy basically highlighted how depressed I was, because I was depressed before the trip.
Yeah.
It's so being in the trip, as sad as I was,
Yeah.
it basically just highlighted, because everyone else seemed to be so happy, seemed to be having such a good time, and I was trying, to be honest. I came to the things I went to the clubs. I didn't drink as much as people, honestly. I guess that's not how I cope.
Shit, babe.
I drank wine. But people drank more alcohol than water.
Let me tell you, I feel like I spent so much money on that trip.
Yo.
Wow. It was a good time.
And I'm happy that you had a good time. I'm glad you did. I'm glad I had the experience, because obviously it was so enlightening. And when I came back, things basically, I told myself I don't want to be in that space again.
Yeah.
And things started shifting for me.
Yeah.
Because of being exposed, also being like, there's so much more to life. I need to get out of this funk.
Yeah.
But during the trip, having the experience, it just.
But
I was
see,
so
now that I'm
sad.
thinking about it, I'm like, what is this friendship? Because now I think we're such intentional friends. If you go into a funk, I would clock it, even if you didn't tell me.
Yeah.
So for you to say that you were going through this, and I'm thinking, and anyway, we were so caught up in our own.
Everyone was in their own.
We were
BS.
all, yeah, because I
Everyone
don't
was in
even
their
think
own
you
thing.
knew. For me, third year was like
I
a nightmare.
didn't know. I think I knew we were all having a collectively shit experience.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was that bad.
Man, and you were struggling. But we need to talk more. Talk to your friends, man. You need
If they talk to people, talk to us. Just talk. Because as much as we did have good times, and the good times helped.
Yeah.
And I think also some of the good times are a way of coping with the shit that you're going through, because
Yeah.
law school was not easy. But we needed to have spoken more and been more open
Yeah.
about how we were actually
Honestly,
feeling and the things we were going through.
Honestly, I'm gonna say, and of course, I'm gonna sound like an old auntie, but I don't know whether uni is a place to be in relationships to find the love of your life. I don't know how to explain it. Like,
Cannot agree more, honestly.
because first of all, depending on how self-aware you are and whether you found yourself, you will end up picking a partner who, one, might not be right for you. You might even be in relationships you had no business being in. You might be doing things you have no business doing. Like, there's a lot. I'm really fighting the urge to say, live the relationship still you can figure yourself out. Because I know that people who figure themselves out in relationships, it can work for some people. But honestly, that's how you end up supporting people. That's how you end up, I don't know,
she's coming for me.
in situations where you, I don't know, are pregnant by someone you didn't want to be pregnant by,
When you're not
stuck in
ready.
I don't know. There are so many things that, and then relationships, silikuwa nazo uni, kama would you, like, if you don't know yourself, you end up taking the identity of the partner you're with, or engaging in sex when you don't need to be engaging in sex, involving yourself in interests that are interests for your partner and not yours. I don't know. There's a lot. I'm just like, leave it alone. Leave it alone.
You gotta chill. You need to
leave it alone unless you found like you actually know yourself enough to not be influenced or shaken by certain things. Because peer pressure, you're already fighting peer pressure and you think you're not going to be fighting with the love of your life. Stop it right this minute. Stop it right
You know
this
what? I
minute.
know for a fact they won't listen. So if you do get into these relationships, just take care of yourself. Put yourself first. Please be a little selfish. Yeah, just know that there's so much more to life beyond uni. And even we've not experienced the half of it. We're still in our 20s. So yeah, I think we can end the episode there. It's been a little bit emotional and it was a nice reminiscing for some of those things. But the others, we're just like, oh.
And it's okay not to do drugs, by the way. It's okay to do drugs, but it's okay not to do drugs. Okay, maybe not okay to do drugs, but like
do drugs. I'm gonna just take. It's not okay to do drugs.
No, okay. It's okay to discover your poison, but honestly, it's not by force. You know, when your friends are doing something and you feel like you need to do it. Did I tell you how I was hanging out in a place with young people yesterday, and they were like, I saw someone throwing like a cough syrup bottle, and I was like, people still do codeine. Like I was shook. I'm like, this other one looks high on I don't know what. Then they start fighting. Then cops show up. I was like, no, you've gotten arrested. You're gonna be milked from like this cop, because this cop hasn't arrested them to actually book them. They've arrested them just to make money out of them. Now you're losing money. You don't need to lose. Like there's a lot. I think honestly, just go to uni knowing you'll find a lot of life in uni, but it's for you to discover what part of life you need to involve yourself in. Honestly, see by force. Even if your friends are doing something and you don't like it, just say you don't. If they're really your friends, they won't care. We had in our friend group, we used to hang out and like indulge at one of the house, like at Kinangina's house. Is it before you before you even moved to that hostel?
Before I moved there, we used to go there.
We used to go there and
ultimately
like just hang out and chill. And in our friend group, there's someone who, when we are ordering those choices that we were ordering, she was ordering ice cream.
Yeah.
And we were boys. We would live there.
We still are.
Okay, yeah, we still are. We're still boys.
Yeah.
Honestly, you can say no, and your friends who are your friends would not care. And
if they really care about
in terms
you,
of involving yourself in like sex, there's so many people I knew by the time we were leaving uni who were not engaging. It's not by force. You just need to find your group of.
Find your people,
find your
stick
tribe,
with them, figure out yourself. You don't have to do everything that everyone is doing.
Definitely don't have to.
Yeah.
Definitely don't have to.
Honestly. Maya has got into anti mode.
Literally, I sound 45.
Wow.
Because I
think you're speaking to your younger self.
I'm speaking to my younger self. You really don't have to.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode. It's been lovely and it's been all sorts of feelings talking about our uni experiences. And make sure you check us out on social media at Nairobi Sisterhood everywhere. Make sure you check us out individually at I Am Gina on Instagram and at
Maya Mushemi.
Okay, guys.
Bye. Oh, this was such a good episode. I'm so glad we didn't even use people's Nini's experiences.